And you know, it's really amazing to me in the last few days, I've seen these letters and to the editor, these people I've never met before. I don't know who they are, I don't know where they're getting information from, but they purport to know exactly what I do every day. For instance, when we're taping this, in 2 days I will be beginning a murder case in Cedar Rapids in the midst of this campaign. It's been an ongoing case. Now, I'm pretty sure that's a felony. I've been working on the James Bentley case. Another case like I was talking about earlier, that I asked to be assigned to and I asked to offer assistance on. We've fought to keep the taped interview of Jet Set Gage into evidence during that trial, even though she expired at the hands of James Bentley's brother. Wrote the brief on that. I've been at the depositions. I've been basically prosecuting that case, and for the most, that's a felony. Okay, I have a dependent adult abuse case, which is an up-and-coming crime, something we're going to see a lot more of. It's on the cutting edge. Caretakers taking advantage of dependent adults. This particular case involved a caretaker taking advantage of his mother financially. I built that case from the ground up. I took it to the grand jury. I'm the lead felony prosecutor on that case. That's a felony. I don't know where these people are getting their information. If people want to know about my felony experience, they should come talk to me. I also want to mention, too, I've tried cases involving DNA evidence, computer forensics, any kind of medical testimony of various types of experts. Have been involved in the cases I prosecute. Brain mapping techniques, things that are really on the cutting edge. That's what you get when you're in the criminal justice system, the contemporary criminal justice system, when you've been involved in it in the last 6 years. You're on the cutting edge of those type of things. Regardless of whether a case is a felony or misdemeanor, all of those things come into effect. It's really what you get from coming from the ground and dealing in the trenches like I do. So I just really want people to know about my experience. You know, I don't speculate on the experience of other candidates in the race or in other positions. You know, I could say what I hear it is that my opponent does every day, but I'm not going to do that. I want people to talk to me about it. And again, I have the experience for the position. It's not just about the type of case, it's about the leadership, the things I talked about earlier, the membership in the different organizations, the different coalitions that gather together, and the experience, the leadership to make the necessary changes in the system. Someone that's coming in and saying, you know, I realize what the problems are and here's what we're going to do from here on out.
Have you ever considered leaving the county attorney's office and taking up a private practice?
That's the first time I've ever been asked that. Yeah, I did early on. I thought when I first started I wasn't getting enough interesting cases. I wanted to really get involved, and I thought, you know, boy, if this is what I'm going to do, I want to get out and be there doing the important cases. And, you know, there's a money issue, too, involved. You don't exactly pay public employees very well. But the longer I stay with the position of prosecutor, the more I realize that it's actually a career position for me. I'm very fortunate that I have a position in the practice of law that allows me to come to work every day and allows me to exercise professional judgment and discretion of my own on each and every case. And I don't have to concede or bow to the wishes of a client necessarily, telling me that you have to make this type of argument, or you know, I don't have to take cases on just because I need the money. If something is right and just, I get to go forward on a case. I make that decision. If something is wrong, I get to make the decision to not go forward on a case. It's really the most fortunate position to have in the practice of the law. And now that I've been with it long enough, I realize that the type of impact that you can have on people's lives and the type of long-term relationships that you can build are more worthwhile to me than throwing up a shingle and you know, making more money. It's the challenges. You know, it's little things like a domestic abuse victim that I've known for 6 years now, that I've seen her when she first came in a horrible relationship. In the first 2-3 times she came in, we weren't able to get that conviction. She kept going back to him, but now she's gone, she's away, she's picking up the pieces of her life, she's moving on. If I wouldn't have stuck with that job long enough, I wouldn't be able to see those success stories.
Actually, I am very committed to working in the public sector. I think if I left the county attorney's office, I would probably go into some kind of either other public sector kind of work or looking at some other kind of nonprofit organization. But really, I've been very committed. I've been offered jobs at private firms, and I always felt that there was something more I wanted to do at the county attorney's office. once I was offered the job, but I really wanted to get the sexual assault investigation team going, which brought together law enforcement, different investigators to try to make sure we were doing a better job in investigating those cases. Another time when I talked to another firm, they were interested in having me join them. I really still felt like there was more I could learn and more I could provide to the community, and so I stayed in the county attorney's office, and that's where my real interest is.
Do you think there is a problem with burnout in county attorneys' offices?
I think there can be, and I think that it's a hard job. When you're dealing with violent crimes and bad things or difficult things that happen to people all the time, it can be a burnout kind of job. I think one thing, for me, it was good that I did a variety of different cases. It was also good to get involved in other organizations, such as even the Johnson County Coalition Against Domestic Violence is another group I'm involved in. So when you're dealing always with kind of the consequences of crime, it's good to be working with organizations that are trying to do things to prevent crime, because it really does energize you. All of those things helped, as well as the fact that I also supervise students, law students who work in our office, and every year we'd get a new group of students, and it was always encouraging to be able to teach them and see how much they could learn over the years, and that always keeps things fresh. I think that it can be a burnout kind of job, and really it's something that people need to take into consideration, but they really need to try to figure out what they can do to keep their enthusiasm up, keep it interesting, as well as make sure that they're doing a good job.
Okay.
And still, like I said, I've kept my hand in criminal law, so I've kept up on laws, changes in technology, different things, different types of investigations, and have continued to work like with the sexual assault response team, Johnson County Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I was on the board for rape victim advocacy program up until I think a couple of years ago. So I've stayed in the criminal area even though I've been doing civil work for the county.
I think that the way that certain county attorneys' offices can be organized can contribute to a burnout factor. In my office, I've had an opportunity, like I said earlier, to prosecute all kinds of cases, from murder, sexual abuse, child abuse. I went through the list before. I do everything. That way I don't walk into work every day and say, oh my God, another domestic abuse case. I can't handle this anymore, you know. Another sexual abuse case. I can't handle this anymore. I get a variety. And I also am able to gather expertise in all those levels too. So it really keeps the job interesting, it keeps the job challenging, and it avoids the burnout factor if you're able to assign cases in a more generalized way. I think there's a lot of attorneys and some people in the Johnson County Attorney's Office who have been in a position where they've been in the criminal realm and they've tried those type of very difficult cases and didn't want to do anymore. So they moved to a different department where they don't have those same type of challenges every day.
And then, do you ever do ride-alongs
Yes.
or meet with officers and police force?
I've ridden along with officers for quite a while, and it's one of the things that I really require all the students that I supervise to do. So I have new students who start every summer, usually new students who start in the fall, and that's something that they're all supposed to do is ride along with officers. I've had great fun riding along with officers, and it really does give you a much better appreciation about what they're doing and how hard it is, how hard of a job it is. When they get called to a scene, they don't know what they're going to find inside. I have to tell you, just listening to them talk on the radio, it's like as you're driving at high speed down the road, following somebody in rapid pursuit, and there's radio talk going on that I can't even understand, but they're able to do that, and they're also able to, respond to that, keep track of many other things going on. I've always found that to be a fascinating thing to watch law enforcement, and it's really good for prosecutors or anyone really working in the criminal justice system to really see what happens. I also require all of our interns to tour the jail and tour the prisons because I also think that it's important for them to understand that part of the criminal justice system as well. As far as working with officers, I meet with officers every month with the sexual assault investigation team, sexual assault response team, also with the Johnson County Coalition Against Domestic Violence. We have law enforcement involved in that. I also have been doing regular trainings for law enforcement for really in the 15 years that I've been there. I've done quite a few, whether it's on domestic abuse, sex abuse. Just in January and February of this year, I was involved in training on sexual assault guidelines and how we'll investigate sexual assault guidelines or sexual assault cases to all the law enforcement officers in Johnson County. So the Sheriff's Office, Coralville Police Department, Iowa City Police Department, University Police, University Heights Police, North Liberty Police, all of them participated in that. Last fall, I went to a training that law enforcement was doing on dealing with crowd control and getting specific training on that. So I've gone to a lot of different trainings over the last 15 years with law enforcement as well as having presented to them.